Hello, hello! How are you doing today? Well, for the lesson today, you are gonna need your journal of Unit 6 and the reading journal. Remember, this is the journal that has 3 different parts. We are gonna use the first part that is for reading, okay? So bring the notebook, the student's notebook and the journal, the reading journal, and come back. You can stop the video. Okay, are you ready? Let's continue. I'm gonna read the objective for today. Today, the student will know what is the theme in the house on Mango Street. Remember, the house on Mango Street was the first vignette in this book, and we are gonna learn today about the theme. The theme in this story. The student will understand that there are some tools, such as graphic organizers, to discover the theme of the house on Mango Street. Do you remember what is a graphic organizer? Look, this is a graphic organizer for compare and contrast. We have used it before. This is another graphic organizer. Do you remember this? Okay. We are going to use this graphic organizer today. Those graphic organizers are tools that are going to help us to discover the theme in the story. And the student will be able to use a graphic organizer to discover the theme of aspiration in the house on Mango Street. Aspiration. What is aspiration? Aspiration is the hopes, the dreams, the personal goals that you have in life. I'm going to tell you a story. Do you love stories? I know you do. Okay. When I was a child, my grandma, Carmen, always told me, Ellie, my name is Elizabeth, so she called me Ellie. Ellie, you need to have aspirations in life. When I was a child, I didn't understand that. But when I grow up, I understand that I need to have my own dreams, what I want to be when I'm grow up, what personal goals I have, what I want to achieve in life. So I start thinking about that, about aspirations. What are my dreams? Do you have aspirations in life? Do you have dreams? Do you have hopes? Well, those are aspirations, and this is a word that is related to the story today. Let's read the story to refresh our minds, and when we are reading the story, I want you to think about the words, the images that you visualize in your head that are repeated all the time. If you see a word that is repeated during all the story, note it in your journal or in a paper, a sticky note, somewhere. If you notice that it is describing the same thing all the time, and you can visualize that during all the story, note that, because it is related to the theme that we are going to learn today. So pay attention to repetitions in this story.
Yet 1. The House on Mango Street. We didn't always live on Mango Street. Before that, we lived on Loomis on the 3rd floor. And before that, we lived on Keeler. Before Keeler, it was Paulina. And before that, I can't remember. But what I remember most is moving a lot. Each time it seemed there'd be one more of us. By the time we got to Mango Street, we were 6. Mama, Papa, Carlos, Kiki, my sister Nenny, and me. The house on Mango Street is ours, and we don't have to pay rent to anybody, or share the yard with the people downstairs, or be careful not to make too much noise. And there isn't a landlord banging on the ceiling with a broom. But even so, it's not the house we'd thought we'd get. We had to leave the flat on Loomis quick. The water pipes broke, and the landlord wouldn't fix them because the house was too old. We had to leave fast. We were using the washroom next door and carrying water over in empty milk gallons. That's why Mama and Papa looked for a house, and that's why we moved into the house on Mango Street, far away, on the other side of town. They always told us that one day we would move into a house, a real house, that would be ours for always, so we wouldn't have to move each year. And our house would have running water and pipes that worked. And inside, it would have real stairs, not hallway stairs, but stairs inside, like the houses on TV. And we'd have a basement and at least 3 washrooms, so when we took a bath, we wouldn't have to tell everybody. Our house would be white with trees around it, a great big yard, and grass growing without a fence. This was the house Papa talked about when he held a lottery ticket, and this was the house Mama dreamed up in the stories she told us before we went to bed. But the house on Mango Street is not the way they told it at all. It's small and red, with tight steps in front, and windows so small you'd think they were holding their breath. Bricks are crumbling in places, and the front door is so swollen you have to push hard to get in. There is no front yard, only 4 little elms the city planted by the curb. Out back is a small garage for the car we don't own yet, and a small yard that looks smaller between the 2 buildings on either side. There are stairs in our house, but they're ordinary hallway stairs, and the house has only 1 washroom. Everybody has to share a bedroom. Mama and Papa, Carlos and Kiki, me and Nenny. Once, when we were living on Loomis, a nun from my school passed by and saw me playing out front. The laundromat downstairs had been boarded up because it had been robbed 2 days before, and the owner had painted on the wood, "Yes, we're open," so as not to lose business. "Where do you live?" she asked. "There," I said, pointing up to the 3rd floor. "You live there?" There. I had to look to where she pointed. The 3rd floor, the paint peeling, wooden bars Papa had nailed on the windows so we wouldn't fall out. "You live there?" The way she said it made me feel like nothing. There. I lived there. I nodded. I knew then I had to have a house, a real house, one I could point to. But this isn't it. The house on Mango Street isn't it. For the time being, Mama says. Temporary, says Papa. But I know how those things go.
If you have paid attention to the story, you have noticed that there are some words that are repeated all the time. Well, the theme, that is what we are learning today, the theme is a topic that is repeated all the time. It's the big idea. So, are you thinking in something that is repeated all the time? Is it a house? Houses are houses all the chapter, right? So we are going to use this graphic organizer, and here on the top we are going to write the main idea, the big idea, what is repeated through all the chapter, through all the vignette. And the topic, the theme are houses. Is it the same word that you have written in your note? I hope so. Well, what are the houses that we can see here in the story? Let's check. Let me see. The story is here in your journal, page number 3. It's talking about a lot of houses, but it spent a whole paragraph talking about the flat on Loomis. So this is the first house that is describing in the vignette. I'm gonna write here the flat on Loomis. Okay, this is the first house. It wasn't a good one, right? Then it started talking about a house that they don't have, but they dream about this house. This is let's call it like in TV, there is a show that is called The House of Your Dreams. It is gonna be the house of your dreams. They explain how they have dreamed that house. So we are gonna call that house the house of your dreams. This is not a real house. It's a house in your dreams, okay? And finally, we have the house on Mango Street. That is the house that we have been visualizing and drawing the other day. Do you remember? Yes, we have underlined a lot of details. So this is the house on Mango Street. It is important when we are reading a passage that we notice the structure of the text, the passage. Sometimes there are two big ideas and the author, the writer is comparing idea 1 with idea 2. In those cases, we are going to use this graphic organizer. But today, we have a big idea, a theme that is houses. Topic is different houses. And in the text, we can see how the author is describing one house after another house. The author describes, the protagonist describes the 3 houses. And by the end of the vignette, something happened. Something happened. There is another house or not? There is an aspiration. I'm gonna show you how. The aspiration is at the end of vignette 1. In the last paragraph, I'm gonna read what the protagonist says. I knew then I had to have a house, a real house, one I could point to, but this isn't it. This is the aspiration that the protagonist is having. The protagonist wants to have a real house, a good house, because the flat on Loomis was a bad house. The house of your dreams, it was an imaginary house, but they didn't have that house. And the house on Mango Street, it was the same. She didn't like that house. So she has a dream, a hope that one day she's going to have a good house. And that is her aspiration. Do you have aspirations? I hope you do. Now I want to do a close reading with you to notice more details in the story. What is close reading? Close reading? No, it's not that. It's not reading that close. Close reading is reading, highlighting, underlining, taking notes. That's close reading. Close reading is when you are reading a story and you pay attention to the details. You find important information in the story, so you can use that information to know deeper, to know more, to understand better the story, okay? So let's do a close reading here. The activity that we are going to do now is in your journal in page 62. You see page 62 here in the corner, I have written the number. So go to your journal in page 62 and you are going to see this chart. This chart has 3 columns for time, mood, and quote, and we have the 3 houses, the Imagine house, the Mango Street house, and the Loomis Street flat. Okay, you are gonna complete this chart, and I'm gonna explain you the words, time, mood, and quote, so you can complete the chart. Are you ready? Okay, what is time? Time can be the past, what happened in the past, what is behind you. Present is what we are living right now, and the future, we are not in the future yet. we can imagine the future. The future is tomorrow. The past is yesterday, the present is today, and the future is tomorrow. Tomorrow or next year, you know? Okay, so this is the time. Here in the first column, you have to write only one word in each box. You're gonna write here, past, present, future. You know? It is in the story. So pay attention and do a close reading. Read, looking for the details to know if the imagined house is in the past, in the present, or in the future. You decide which time and you write the word here. Okay. You cannot invent that. You have to give evidence of the test evidence. The test evidence is where in the story did you find a clue that this house was in the past or was in the future. So I'm going to give you an example. Here in the story, I can read. We had to leave the flat on Loomis Creek. We had to leave, that means that if we lived, that's in the past. We had to leave the flat on Mango, or the flat on Loomis Creek. That means that it was on the past. So here, when it says Loomis Street flat, I'm gonna write past, and I'm gonna write here the quote. The quote is the sentence where I found the test evidence. So I'm gonna copy that sentence. That's in the second paragraph, page 1, second paragraph, here in the beginning. That sentence, I'm gonna copy that sentence here, okay? That's gonna be my test evidence, the quote. So you have to do that with each house. You have to write a word for the time, and then you have to write a quote to support that time, okay? Your decision. And then we are gonna do the mood. You can stop the video here to complete those 2 columns and then continue. The next column is about the mood. The mood are the feelings of the characters. And I'm gonna teach you 8 different moods. Yes, you see 6 pictures, 6 photographs, but some of them have 2 words because they are very similar, very close in meaning, like they are synonyms. So we can use either of them, okay? Excited. Wow, I'm excited. I love that. Proud. Look what I got. I have graduated. Or look what I have, my new jersey. Look, you are proud of something and you want to show that. Happy, happy, happy. I'm so happy when I see you every day in my class. I feel happy. Bored. That teacher is so boring. I want to sleep in her class. Excited. Bored. Those are opposite meaning. Those are antonyms. That word. Antonyms. Synonyms meaning same meaning. Antonyms, opposite meaning. Same, when you are same or disappointed, is the opposite, the antonym of proud. When you are proud, you want to show that. When you are disappointed or you are ashamed of something, you want to hide yourself. I'm not happy with that. I'm not proud of that. Unhappy or sad. We don't have class today. I cannot see you today. I'm so sorry. I feel so sad with this. Okay. Excited, proud, happy, or disappointed, and sad. Can you repeat those? You can do theater, you can play with those feelings so you can learn this vocabulary, okay? Now, you have to use those words to complete the column in the middle, the mood, the feelings, okay? So you have to choose one feeling for each house, not your feelings, the feelings of the character. So you need to give test evidence. I hope you have enough space. If you don't worry. You can continue writing in the next page because we are not gonna use this page. So you can continue, you just run a row and continue writing the test evidence over here, okay? I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, in Vignette 1, at the end, the very end, it says, I knew then I had to have a house, a real house. One I could point to. So when you are proud of something, you want to show that, you want to point, this is my house, I live there. So you are proud of that and you want to point to that so people can see it. Okay, so the feeling for the dream house, the real house, the good house that she wants to have one day, the feeling is one house that is gonna make her proud of that house. So you have to write one I could point to with quotation marks in the third column, as well together with the other test evidence for the time, because we are giving test evidence. That's very, very important. Okay, so here you complete. Now you are gonna complete the second column with the mood for each house and write the test evidence for each house. If you don't have enough space here, you can use the next page. Okay, and this is the lesson for today. I hope you have enjoyed. You have learned about the theme and how to do close reading, finding the test evidence to explain what is the time and the feeling in the story. And I will see you tomorrow.